once you've healed yourself, where do you go from here? You notice that globally, we women are all massively leveling up, and it means that a large portion of us have healed ourselves, but we are still not walking in our purpose. We're still not becoming more. We want to become more. We've done the inner work. You've done your shadow work. You are at that phase now, or at that stage where you feel that you want to become the full expression of self, but somehow you feel that you are unable to give yourself permission to do that. And the reason why is because after you heal, you must harmonize. You must harmonize yourself with the soul in order to take it to the next level. Because the thing that you've done to set yourself free, the thing that you've done to heal yourself, is now the very same thing that is going to prevent you, deny you permission to move to the next thing. Let me explain. Welcome to the 5D Mom podcast, where I share my spontaneous musings about self-mastery. These episodes are on the go, just like two friends talking on the phone. My name is Janice Nelson. I'm the author and founder of Fabulous One Philosophy. I help you make bliss your default state and become her by giving yourself permission to shine so you can see your beauty from within. This is exciting because when I started getting downloads in 2014 and I put myself on this spiritual awakening path and decided to write the book Fabulous One Philosophy, Self-Mastery Study Guide for Moms, this was the trajectory my soul put me on. My soul put me on a trajectory to harmonize, not to heal. At the time, I didn't really truly fully had the words. I wasn't able to communicate and express it in the way that I can do it now because it's 10 years later. But what I think is absolutely mind-blowing is that 10 years ago, I received the message and I followed my intuition, I followed my inner guidance, and it has now led me here. And this is the part that right now we women don't really learn yet, because it's maybe not mainstream, because this is maybe the next step. This is the next thing that we need to master in order to really become masters of self, in order to really create that blissful life. Because creating a blissful life has nothing to do with how successful you are, how much money you make, what title you have in this 3D world. It has everything to do with your foundation, with your core, where you are emotionally every morning when you wake up. How do you feel about yourself every morning when you wake up? And if you don't feel if you don't feel your best self, how do you then change that story in your mind? How do you change the feeling? And here is where a lot of us women will fall into the trap of thinking that you are not done healing. I've experienced that myself with friends in my life who healed themselves, in my opinion, from my perspective. And then after a period of time, I see them fall back into old patterns. And I see them recreate the story in their mind that they're not healed yet. And you fall into the trap of doing the same things over and over again. You're starting to look for deeper modalities to help you heal. You start to think that you haven't tapped into all the shadow aspects of yourself necessary in order to show up in this world whole and complete. You're going to be digging in your shadow world, so to speak, in the unconscious, to find the reason why you can't show up for yourself. With Fabulous One philosophy, I want to show you that it is actually reason that is keeping you in a trap. You're looking for a reason to give yourself permission to show up as your authentic self, to show up as you unapologetically. To show up as yourself unapologetically, you need to be in harmony with your soul. You need to be connected to your inner world. You need to have that soul connection. Your ego needs to connect to her soul. Restore that connection. Now, once you are healed, you are in this phenomenal position to do so. But because that part of our journey hasn't been mapped out completely and fully, hasn't been verbalized in a way for us collectively to understand how that process happens, and we are creating the modalities and the systems and the mental models as we speak right now. That's why it's amazing to be alive today. And if you're part of this movement, you understand what I'm talking about. You feel excited because you know where we are headed towards. But now women like myself are going to come on the scene and teach you how to harmonize with the soul. Now, harmonization with the soul might sound a little metaphysical because you can't really grasp this mentally. In science, they are also now figuring out that you have to balance your nervous system. It's all about the fight and flight response. Because what got you to this level will not get you to the next level. Because the things you're doing, the things that you did in order to get to this level that has healed you, are now going to be the things that are going to hurt you moving up, going further. So every time you move up a scale or a higher level of awareness or a higher frequency, you have to harmonize yourself. You have to harmonize yourself so that you can keep growing and moving towards more abundance, more bliss. This is also a hard concept to explain, and I will try my best right now because I'm doing it out of the top of my head. Harmonization of the soul is what needs to happen right now. And you can also explain it by saying you need to prepare your body for the unknown. The body is constantly going in a fight or flight response when you have thoughts, ideas about the unknown. But everything you want in life is in the unknown, because if it was known to you, you would have already have it. If it was known to you, you would already be living that life, because everything that you truly know in your body is on the same resonance and the same frequency as you are. It will be magnetized to you. So if the life that you want isn't happening in real time, it's not because you haven't healed properly, it's because you haven't harmonized with your current environment. Because mind and body always need to be in alignment in order for you to feel at peace. We make the mistake to think that peace comes from an environment that is conducive to us being peaceful. It's the other way around. When your mind and body is at peace, your environment will be conducive to that. Everything that exists in your inner world will manifest in your outer world. Harmonization is a completely different animal. It's a completely different skill set than healing. Healing actually feels more comfortable because you can go into the past, you can look at the shadow aspects, you can look at your pain points and clearly identify what needs to be healed, because there is tangible evidence of you having a past, and what has happened in that past, you have memories of that, and therefore it's easier to go into the past and try to mend, heal what you would consider the broken pieces. But once you've healed, it means your mind can no longer go into the past. Where does your mind go now? Where does your mind go next? Your mind now has to go into the future. But the future is scary. The future is unknown. The future hasn't happened yet. So how can you remember the memories of the future? And this is when it becomes metaphysical, and we can no longer stay in the arena of science. We can no longer stay in the arena of psychology, because everything science and psychology is about what has already happened or what is happening right now. But everything metaphysical, philosophical is what is going to happen in the future. And because you are now at this precipice, at this point in your life where you feel healed, but you want to move towards expression of self, you want to move towards becoming more, your mind has to now tap into a future. And the future is unknown. So guess what's going to happen? You're going to fall back into that fight or flight response. But because your mind has no awareness of what is going on, the first thing you're going to think is that you haven't healed properly. Because the feelings are going to feel familiar. The pain is going to feel familiar. But you're not understanding where the pain is coming from. You're automatically going to draw the conclusion, oh, I haven't solved something properly in my past. In the Fabulous One philosophy, I have the 5 stages of self-mastery. Stage 1 I call positive pain. Why? Because the people in stage 0, which I don't have in the Fabulous One philosophy, but I speak about stage 0 so that I can make it tangible and understandable for you what is going on. People in stage 0 are in negative pain because positive and negative is still duality, and that's why I have chosen to call it this way, to make it hopefully more understandable to you what is going on in your mind. There are 2 journeys that you have to undertake. It is not just about shadow work, healing yourself, and then you think, oh, I'm done, I'm all right, after I'm healed, I can now live my blissful life. That's not gonna happen, because you are energy in motion, emotion. You are always moving, and if you're not moving forward consciously, you will move backwards. Even if you are standing still, even if you think you are maintaining, because there's no such thing as standing still. So you will always move back into the past. At least that's how it will feel like for your mind. And your mind will then come to the conclusion that she hasn't healed. because the feeling will feel familiar. The feeling of pain will feel familiar because you've already connected a reason to that pain. So you fall into the trap to think that you are not healed. But once you have done your shadow work, once you have reached a place where you feel momentarily, because these are always moments in time where you feel, oh, I get it now. I get it now. I feel so much better about myself. And then slowly that window closes and slowly you move back towards not feeling good again. Not feeling whole again. Feeling broken again. You feel something's wrong. And until now, a lot of the, especially new age spiritual teachers, will keep repeating the same thing over and over again, making you think that you haven't healed yet. Because, in all honesty, they don't know that it's about harmonization and not healing at that point. But they themselves very often fall into that slippery slope of thinking that they haven't resolved things about themselves, about their own past. And that's why they keep taking you with them to do shadow work, because they think that that's what needs to happen for themselves as well. That's why women like me who speak about harmonization of the soul is going to be very rare. You're going to really meet women like me, because I'm coming from a perspective of wholeness. I'm speaking to you from already being complete. I'm speaking to you from a perspective of once the healing is done, this is what you do. But it sounds so unfamiliar to you that it's easy to dismiss someone like me, because you don't recognize what I'm talking about, because you haven't had this experience before. And what is also very disheartening and difficult for me myself personally as a future self-mastery teacher, and also going from self-master now to great master teacher, is the difficulty to show you what is happening to you, while at the same time simultaneously there are a large group of women talking to you about your pain and about healing the shadow. Just because a large group of women have agreed upon something doesn't make it so, doesn't make it right. Actually, it's the opposite for me. If I see a large group of women doing the same thing and talking the same story and telling the same story, I know intuitively to walk into a different direction. Unconsciously, I will walk the other way, because I know that can't be right. I just know. But until now, people like myself probably couldn't figure out, okay, but then what is different? And that's why I think Fabulous One Philosophy is so phenomenal, because I received that message in 2014, and now 10 years later, look at me now. So it's becoming clearer and clearer what we need to do and why we are, quote unquote, sabotaging ourselves. The future is unknown. You have no idea what the future will bring. So this is now another reason for your body to go into a fight or flight response. Because your mind has not been harmonized with this higher level of seeing, you're going to fall into the trap to go back into the past thinking you haven't healed yourself. But what you truly need to do is harmonize so that you can keep moving forward to higher levels of consciousness. What is happening is that once you see the light, once you are whole, once you are healed, you are now confronted with the fact that you have to step into your truth. You are now confronted with the fact that you have to express yourself authentically. You're now confronted with the fact that you have no more excuses to not create your life. So your whole perspective changes now to, first it was, I need to heal so that I can make the adjustments, make the improvements, and create my life as I see fit, create that blissful life. You have done that work. You have done the work of healing. Now you're healed. What's next? And this is where you fall into the trap of thinking, oh, I'm not healed yet. Why? Because the same fear is coming back. But this fear is coming from a completely different arena, which is positive pain, which is stage 1. And so in stage 1, what you're going to do now, and this is where I help you with tremendously, and this is like for me the most exciting thing to talk about, and I can talk about it for hours and hours and hours, and you got to come to my school and we can talk about it, because I don't want to talk about the arena of stage 0, about healing. I want to talk to the women who feel they're healed, who feel they're good, but now how do you go to great? Because this was also my big question. Because every time I listened to other women speak about healing, speaking about pain, it didn't resonate with me. Because on an unconscious level, I had already done that work. So my question was, but why can't I move forward? Why can't I move towards becoming more? Why can't I go from good to great? And that's when I realized that this hierarchy that we call patriarchy is here for a reason. And the reason why we have a patriarchy is because it creates fail-safes to go to the next level. Because every time you go to the next level, you increase your vibration. When you increase your vibration, you increase energy. When you increase your energy, you increase entropy. And now we're going really advanced. Like I said, if you really want to dive deep, come to my school and we can talk about it. I have many ways for you to talk to me one-on-one. I really love working with people one-on-one, talking to people one-on-one. This is just me personally, what I've experienced. I am not a big fan of the whole group thing, and the more I am myself also investing in group coaching and seeing behind the scenes and experiencing that myself, I am just not a fan. I love right now I have a business coach and a spiritual coach, and I love talking to them one-on-one. But as soon as we do the group coaching thing, or we are in a group container and I'm with a whole bunch of other people, I don't like it anymore. That's just me. And of course I understand the price tag to work with someone one-on-one and have all that personal and private attention is a lot higher. I understand that. And the same will go for me as well. If you want to work with me, that price tag is of course going to be higher than if you would be in a group container. But if you're someone like me who really wants to go from good to great, the group thing, I feel, is just going to slow you down. It's just going to slow you down because you have to deal with a lot of people who are still in stage 0. And they're still dealing with negative pain. And they're still trying to process all the negative pain of the past. While you're over here being healed and you want to go from good to great. But now the group itself is on a certain frequency And you basically got to wait for the group to harmonize before you can move forward, which is of course not going to happen because most of them, they don't know about harmonization. If you would say, okay, but what about harmonizing? You would hear crickets, 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 crickets. Like, who knows? Who knows about this? Because if you think about it, the arena of the past is your, your fear of being judged. Let's say it like that. Fear of being judged. I can probably come up with a lot more things, but right now this is the first thing that pops up. Your arena of the past is the fear of being judged. But your arena of the future is your fear towards your own light. You fear your own greatness. And there's a really good reason why. You're not imagining this. There's a good reason why. And that's why the divine masculine energy has compartmentalized the divine feminine energy. Again, a very advanced metaphysical concept that we can discuss one-on-one if you would choose to. You would have to come to my school. So here in the 5D Mom podcast, like I said, these are just spontaneous musings that I share with you. Just also for you to get to know me and like me, of course. But also I am showcasing in these episodes my level of depth. And how deep you actually need to go in order to go from good to great. So you completely leave this arena of healing. Because in the arena of healing and healing your shadow aspects or healing any wounds, healing your inner child wound, healing your mother wound, healing your father wound, there's a time and place to do that. And you have to do that. And I encourage you to do that. And I encourage you to work with a psychologist, a psychiatrist, do CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. You need to get to that stage 1. You need to get to that stage 1 where you feel healed, where you feel in balance, where you feel okay, where you're no longer in that survival mode. Otherwise, you should not be trying to move towards becoming great, move towards becoming your best self. You're going to constantly sabotage yourself because of what I'm talking about right now. Because you think you need to heal. No, you need to harmonize. So in the arena of the future, fear is present. You didn't leave fear behind because you healed the past. Fear is always present, but now it's going to take on another form. And as a matter of fact, your fear is going to amplify because you just leveled up from stage 0 to stage 1. You increased in vibration. You increased in frequency. That means more energy is coming in. That also means more entropy. What is entropy? Entropy is basically, if I describe it in a metaphysical way, entropy is actually the resistance you feel as soon as you have a great idea. The resistance that come up in opposition to this great idea. And so the greater your idea, the bigger the resistance and opposition will be. And that resistance and opposition is in direct alignment with your great idea. But if you do not have the wisdom nor the knowledge about universal laws and metaphysical concepts, you're going to automatically believe that that resistance has something to do with the past. So you're going to draw conclusions that are not in relationship with each other. But I see it happening online over and over and over again. And like I said, also with the people close to me, I've seen it happen where I have poured into them to the extent that I felt and believed that they were healed. And at some point they also said they feel so much better about themselves. And then within record time, within no time, within a week or within a month, they would have created something even more dramatic that would allow them to go tap back into the past, tap back into negative pain. Because there is an unawareness, a blind spot, a blindness towards seeing your greater version, towards moving towards your greater self. And this is why you need to harmonize, because once you heal, you invite more light in. But what do you think the light does? The light is blinding too. So even though we use positive words for inviting the light in, becoming brighter, becoming lighter, we don't speak about that our eyes have to acclimate to that light. Our eyes have to harmonize to that light. Otherwise, even your bright light that you turn on from within is now going to be blinding you on your path towards becoming the woman you see in your mind's eye. And this is also how you're going to draw the conclusion. This whole spiritual work is not working. This is how you're going to fall back into the 3D matrix, and you're going to feel more comfortable to do the tangible things, because at least you have control there. At least you can see what's coming. And then you're going to be negative, or you're going to reject this whole spiritual community or the whole spiritual awakening process, because you constantly feel that even though you make progress, it's as if you take 2 steps back again. And you don't understand how you ended up 2 steps back. Wasn't I healing? Didn't I heal my mother wound? Didn't I heal my inner child wound? How much more healing do I need to do? And you're going to fall into that trap of digging in the unconscious, digging in your shadow, doing more shadow work, instead of doing harmonization work. So harmonization work, I call it now, this is my term, I've coined it. If you hear other people speak about it, they got it from me. We're going to do shine work. Shadow work is about healing the past. Shine work is about harmonizing with your light, harmonizing with your soul, so that you can move from good to great, so that you can move towards better, because you have to adjust your eyes to the light. You know, there is this quote, I don't remember who is the author, but it was, and I'm paraphrasing, it was, even Icarus, when he flew too close to the sun, burned his wings. You see? And people who don't know this, they will lead you off the cliff one way or the other. Because the people who are walking to the left and the people who are walking to the right, both roads lead to off the cliff. That's duality. Duality leads you off the cliff. And the reason why the duality matrix is leading you off the cliff is because it wants you to fall off the cliff. Because it wants you to realize something. And it knows that if it doesn't push you off the cliff, you will never come to know it. And that is that you can fly. You don't know you can fly. So this is a very sophisticated design, the soul, mind, and body. And it takes tremendous time, energy, and effort, studying, meditation, inner work, life experience to get to this level that I'm talking about. But you have to find the resonance with my words and your own life experience. That's how you're going to know that I'm telling you the truth. That's how you're going to know that I'm speaking from a place of wisdom. Look at the events in your own life and how you have conducted, how you have behaved in a way that at some point you were able to create your best life. There has always been a point in your life where you could make that decision to go all in and be the best version of you. But then something happened and it derailed you and it moved you back to square one. Why is that? You have to become way more critical about the situations of your past, about your life experiences, and you gotta look at it from a different perspective, from the 5D perspective. Because if you don't, you're going to be falling into the 3D matrix trap, into the trap of 3D, thinking that you haven't healed something that was never broken. So I'm going to leave it at this. I think this is like a super interesting topic and a phenomenal development right now, because I also came up to tell you and teach you this right now in this very moment. Until now, I haven't spoken about this in this way, this clearly. So it also is becoming so much clearer to me how I can help you and what I bring to the table this whole time. And I'm just excited because the self-mastery system already stands. I've created the master's mental model, which I call the Fabulous One framework. Already stands. The whole school is already waiting for you, is already ready for you. I have beginners master classes, advanced master classes inside the school. And then the cherry on top is that I have created transcendental guided meditations in order for you to harmonize and be in that blissful state, so that you start to recognize that feeling and move more towards your soul and do your shine work instead of constantly falling into the trap of doing shadow work. So this is where I'm going to leave it. I hope to see you in my school. And yeah, let me know what you think. And talk to you next time. Bye-bye.